So you remember how I like to factor trinomials is I do a backwards FOIL. So you remember, like, if we're foiling x plus 2, x plus 3, you go that's our first, outer, inner, and last, right? So x times x, x squared, x times 3 is the 3x, 2 times x, the inner, and 2 times 3 at the end, the 6. So you end up with x squared plus 5x plus 6, right? So we're just going to approach that backwards, right? So we're going to start with x squared plus 5x plus 6, and we're going to go the other direction, and we're going to factor it. So I'm looking at my first terms. I'm looking at that. I know that comes from my first terms, that x squared, right? So I know factors of x squared are just x and x. So my only options are x and x right there. And then I'm looking at that positive 6 right there. And I say, well, factors of positive 6 are, it could be either 1 and 6, or it could be 2 times 3. And it's either positive, positive, or, yeah, negative times the negative is the other option, right? So I could try all these. But I can be strategic about my trying, right? I say, well, when I do this first, outer, inner, last, these two in the middle are going to combine, right? The 3x and the 2x, and they sum up because they're either both positive or they're both negative. So they're going to sum up to 5x. So I'm going to be strategic. I'm going to say, well, it's got to be plus 2 and plus 3. And then I check it and make sure that that's really the factorization once I FOIL it back. Does that make sense? And you get really good at these factoring these trinomials. Let's do another one. So I'm looking at the x squared first. I say, well, it's got to be x and x. And then I look at the 36, and it's a positive 36, right? So it's either 1 and 36, or 2 and 18, or 3 and 12, or 4 and 9. And it's either plus plus, or it's a negative and a negative, right? Because I got to multiply at the last to give me a positive 36. But let's be strategic about it. If it's a positive 36, they will sum up to be 13. So who am I going to pick? 4 and 9. Am I going to make it plus plus or minus minus? Plus plus, yeah, because I need it to sum up to 13. So let's check it. Plus 4 plus 9. Make sure you check it. X squared plus 9x plus 4x plus 36. Oh, sure enough, there's my positive 13x in the middle, and there it is, right? So again, there's our factorization.
So it would be negative, the 13x was negative 13x?
Yeah, if it was negative 13x, then I would have, what would it factor into? Like if they originally gave me this, now it would be what? Good. Yep. And then you check it, right? But again, that's not. So we'll keep going. We'll do some more. We'll do a bunch of these pluses for a minute, and then we'll do some minuses as well. So, and when I say pluses, meaning positive, the last term is positive, positive 60 in this case, right? So let's factor this one. I've got x squared. I'm looking at the x squared, so I know it's x and an x. Now I'm looking at factors of 60. Remember, this is a positive 60. So I'm going to list all these. I think I listed them all, right? So it's either got to be a positive positive or a negative and a negative to give me, right? So it could be a negative 1, negative 60, or negative 2, negative 30, and so on. But either way, since it is a positive 60, these will sum to be positive 17. So who am I going to pick? I guess the next question is, did I list them all? I did not list them all. Who am I missing? That's the whole problem. This is, by the way, if it didn't factor, I'd say prime. But it does factor. I just missed a factor. Who is it? 6 and 10 is one, and there's one more. 5 and 12. Yeah, I listed that wrong. Not 5 and 6. 5 and 12. My goodness. Sorry about that. So 5 and 12. Well, they sum up, right? They sum up. So let's give you 5 and 12. Good. Positive, positive, or negative, negative? Positive, positive. Good. Again, check it, right? Oh, yeah, that works. Oh, yeah, there's the 17x in the middle. You're good to go, right? So, how about this one? Five and 6. Good. Plus, plus, or minus, minus. Again, it's a positive 30. You got to multiply to give me a positive 30, but their sum, they sum up to that a positive 11. So it's going to be plus, plus, or minus, minus? Plus, plus. Good. And again, check it, right? Make sure that thing works. Now, here's one. I got a positive 42. And they sum up. So it's either plus, plus, or minus, minus. So plus, plus, or minus, minus. And you say? 6, it is 6 and 7. Good. Now the 6 and the 7 got to give you a positive 42. Am I going to get, is it plus, plus, or minus, minus? Good. Yep. And then just make sure you check it. Right? You are correct. Make sure you check it. And factor this one. So here's my options. Plus, plus, or minus, minus? Good. Minus, minus. And which one? Yep. So minus 5, minus 20. Again, make sure you check that thing. And that's going to work out for you. All right. Finally, we've got one where the C term is negative. See that negative 42? So now we'll still have our X and our X. But I'm thinking, well, my factors are 42. Their difference, right? Because one of them's positive, one's negative. So these are all my options. And their difference, right? Because they'll be opposite signs when I add them up. Their difference is that negative 11. So who am I going to try this time? Good, negative 3 and 14. And you say, well, let's try that. So minus 3 plus 14. Let's see what we get. X squared plus 14x minus 3x minus 42. That gives me what? 11x. Okay, I'm close, but not quite. So instead of minus 3 plus 14, what am I going to do? Plus 3 minus 14. Good. So just switch those, and then you'll have that one will work out for you. X squared minus 11x minus 42, right? So again, it's got to foil back to what we started with. So let's do some more of these with these differences. So factors of 24. Again, one's a positive, one's a negative. Or negative plus, right? So in this case, I got to have a difference. Difference is negative 10. So who are we going to try? Yeah, I could try 4. Let's say we tried it. Let's try it. Yeah, and we're like, oh, shoot, that actually ends up being negative 2x. So that's not it. So instead, remember that's the difference. So it's got to be 2 and 12. Yeah, who's negative, who's positive? Negative 12, yep. Yep, and that one will work out for you. All right. See if you can do this one straight up without writing anything. It is 8 and 9. Who's negative, who's positive? 9 is negative. Yep, let's check it. Check it. There's that minus 1x in the middle. So that is it. What do you guys think? What are our options? 1, 27, 3, 9, right? So we try all these combinations. Remember, one's got to be positive, one's got to be negative. We try that. Does that work? No. Try that. Does that work? No. Try. Does that work? Does that work? Yeah, no. So what do we say? None of them work. We've tried all our factors, we've tried all the combinations of them, so we finally just say it's prime. Can't get any integer nice factors with this, okay? I'm going to go through similar situation. I don't use this. You can read through your textbook if you want to for this approach, but I like to just get better at factoring it with backwards FOIL. That's how I continue to do these. I just have more options with this. So if I look at 6x cubed plus 23x plus 20, I say, well, I could do like 6x and 1x in all combinations, right? I'm looking at the 6x squared. Or I could do 3x and 2x in all combinations. I'm going to start out, let me just do that one since it's down below. So I'll do the 3x with the 2x. And now I'm looking at my 20, right? And so I say, well, my options are 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5, right? I'll just start in the middle. Let's just try like 4 and 5. 4, 5. Let's try that. Now it's got to be a positive 20. So plus plus or minus minus? Plus plus, because it should get a sum up to 23. So let me try this first. If that doesn't work, let me try the switch the 4 and the 5 next. So I try that's 6x squared, that's a 12x plus 10x plus 20. Well, that's a 22x in the middle. I need a 23x in the middle. So let's switch the 4 and the 5 because I'm pretty close. Let's see if this will do it. 6x squared. I got a 15x. I got an 8x. I got a 20. Is that my 23x in the middle? And so I'm like, all right, there it is, right? So you kind of get good at, once you're good with just a plain old x squared term at the beginning, you'll get better at these ones as well. But you just have more options. So you kind of want to be strategic about your approach so you don't waste too much time when you're factoring them, right? Now this one's 2x squared. So what's my initial factors got to be? I'm looking at that 2x squared. So my only options are 2 and 1. Good. So 2x and 1x. Now I'm looking at the positive 35. And so I could do 1 and 35, but I'm just looking at it and I'm like, you know what? If I do 1 and 35, I'm going to end up with 71 in the middle. That's not going to help me. And if I switch that around, it's not going to help me. So I'm just going to start out with the 5 and the 7. And if the 5 and 7 doesn't work, the 7 and the 5 will probably work, right? Now it's a positive 35, so am I going to go plus plus or minus minus on this one? Because, yeah, they got a sum to be negative 19, right? Let's test this one. 2x squared minus 14x minus 5x plus 35. There's the negative 19x. Sure enough, that's it. All right, let's do one with a negative. You can read through that one, it's the same approach, but let's do one with a negative 9 now, a negative c term. I know it's got to be 5 and x and x. Those are my only options there. But I do have multiple options for the 9. And we just pick one, right? 5x squared plus 12x minus 9. I want to try 1, 9 or 3, 3. 3, negative 3, okay. Let's test it. And before I switch out these numbers, if this doesn't work, I'd try minus 3 plus 3, right? Because it will give you a difference. So 5x squared minus 15x plus 3x minus 9. Ooh, I'm real close, but I have a negative 12x. I need a positive 12x. So the only thing we're going to switch is the signs on those 3's. We're all done there. Could try this or this. Any preference? You guys want to try anything? 3x, 2x. Okay, let's go with the 3x and the 2x. And then factors of 12. Remember, one's got to be positive, one's got to be negative. So that or vice versa. Any preferences? You want to do the 6xx? Yeah. Let's do that. Okay, 6x, x. So let's say I try 112. And I'm like, dude, that's, even if one's positive and one's negative, as it should, that's still a negative 71 in the middle. So I'm like, that's not it. And even if I switch negative 112, it's not going to work there. So let me try that one. I'm like, well, that's a negative 6 plus 12. That's a plus 6x. That's out. So then we try 2, 6. I'm like, nope. 6 and 2, nope. Right? So I make sure I try all these, and then I'm like, okay, let me just get to the 3x and the 2x option then, since those didn't work. And let's try 3 and 4. How about that? If 3, 4 doesn't work, then we'll switch the signs. If those don't work, we do 4, 3, and so on, right? So we got 6x squared minus 12x plus 6x minus 12. So I have a minus 6x. So if I switch the signs, not the numbers, just the signs, it'll be a positive 6x. So that's not going to help us. So how about switch 4 and 3, and we try this. Oh, there's my negative 1x in the middle. There it is, right? Again, you get a little quick with these, but now this one, the nice thing is I can take out a greatest common factor first and make this a little easier. So what can I factor out? 3, yeah, so let's take a 3 out. And now I'm factoring that. I say, well, factors of 33 are 1 and 33. That's not going to help us. But how about 3 and 11? One's got to be positive, one's got to be negative. Who's positive, who's negative? Exactly. Check it, right? If you check it, that'll be your x squared plus 11x minus 3x minus 33. There's that 8x in the middle, right? This, if I have a negative here, I take that out first. So that I'll switch all those signs. And then go from there. In this case, it'll be 3 and -3, right? Again, check that thing, make sure you're good with that. Look out for it. Okay. All right, so that's